Well, my thanks to the university singers. We will be hearing from them again a little later in the program. But for now, we are privileged this morning to hear from the recipients of the Algernon Sydney Sullivan Medallion as chosen by the faculty. This is one of the highest awards at the university. Washington and Lee presents the Algernon Sydney Sullivan Award to the undergraduate senior man and woman as determined by a vote of the faculty, who exhibit Sullivan's ideals of heart, mind, and conduct as evidenced by a spirit of love for and helpfulness to others, who excel in high ideals of living, in fine spiritual qualities, and in generous and disinterested service to others. Earlier this morning, I had the pleasure to present the Algernon Sydney Sullivan Award to Pasquale Toscano, Paki as we know him, and to Tierney Wolgemuth. I will share just some of their many accomplishments in introducing them to you. Paki is from Kettering, Ohio. He is a double major in English and Classics. He has served 4 years on the Student Judicial Council, including as chair during this past year. He was a member of the steering committee and chair of the platform committee for the 2016 Mock Republican Convention. He is vice president of Omicron Delta Kappa's Alpha Circle and was chosen as their leader of the year. He is also a member of Phi Beta Kappa. The recipient of numerous honors and awards from W&L, Paki has won a 2016 Beinecke Scholarship for postgraduate study. As we know, a bicycle accident that injured his spinal cord and kept Paki away from the university for a few months, at least physically, has meant that he will return in the fall to complete the requirements for his degree. I know how you feel, Paki. He then intends to pursue a PhD in English with the hopes of eventually becoming a college professor. Tierney is a senior from Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and is a biochemistry major with a minor in Latin American and Caribbean studies. During her W&L career, Tierney has served as chair of Traveler, a member of the Leadership Education and Development Team, and a trip leader for the Appalachian Adventure and our Leading Edge Pre-Orientation Program. She volunteered in the community with both the Rockbridge Area Health Center and as a tutor for English for speakers of other languages. Next year, she will begin her pursuit of both a medical degree and a Master of Public Health degree at the University of Pittsburgh. So I will now call on both Paki and Tierney in turn to present readings that each of them has chosen to help us celebrate this occasion.
Thank you so much for that very kind introduction, President Ruscio, and thank you all for being here today. This afternoon, I decided to share with you a passage from an epic poem that is very close to my heart, John Milton's Paradise Lost, which reinvents the story of Adam and Eve's fall from Eden. His verse here, as Adam and Eve prepare for their imminent departure from paradise, proves a salient commentary on the dueling sorrow and anticipation that accompany any significant transition period in life. Adam and Eve bemoan their departure from paradise, and yet they cannot help but to be energized, even exhilarated, by the boundless opportunities before them. Such is the condition of the graduating college senior, as we go forth, hand in hand, with those who have become best friends and treasured mentors, to commence upon a journey we must nevertheless claim as our own. Descended, Adam to the bower where Eve lay sleeping ran before, but found her waked, and thus with words not sad she him received. Whence thou return'st, and whither went'st, I know. For God is also in sleep, and dreams advise, which he hath sent propitious, some great good presaging. Since with sorrow and heart's distress, wearied I fell asleep. But now lead on. In me is no delay. With thee to go is to stay here. Without thee here to stay is to go hence unwilling. Thou to me art all things under heaven, all places thou, who from my willful crime art banished hence. This further consolation yet secure I carry hence. Though all by me is lost, such favor I unworthy am vouchsafed. By me the promised seed shall all restore. So spake our mother Eve, and Adam heard well pleased, but answered not. For now too nigh the archangel stood, and from the other hill to their fixed station, all in bright array the cherubim descended. On the ground gliding Meteorus, as evening mist risen from a river o'er the marish glides, and gathers ground fast at the laborer's heel, homeward returning. High in front advanced, the brandished sword of God before them blazed, fierce as a comet, which, with torrid heat and vapor as the Libyan air adust, began to parch that temperate clime. Whereat, in either hand, the hastening angel caught our lingering parents, and to the eastern gate led them direct, and down the cliff as fast to the subjected plain, then disappeared. They, looking back, all the eastern side beheld of paradise, so late their happy seat. Waved over by that flaming brand, the gate with dreadful faces thronged and fiery arms. Some natural tears they dropped, but wiped them soon. The world was all before them, where to choose their place of rest, and Providence their guide. They hand in hand, with wandering steps and slow, through Eden took their solitary way. Thank you very much.
Hi, everyone. This morning, I'm honored to share with you a short passage from Walden by Henry David Thoreau. The book recounts Thoreau's reflections during 2 years of solitary living on Walden Pond. Fittingly, I encountered this passage while camping in Maine, but I've returned to it often in the years since. In the passage, although Thoreau is not discounting the value of education, which would be a rather disappointing message at this juncture, he prompts us to be observers of the world rather than simply subscribers to an institution or a discipline. The importance of observing for oneself remains a cogent reminder at graduation, where we refocus our lives to join the world in a new capacity for which we've been preparing. Sounds. But while we are confined to books, though the most select and classic, and read only particular written languages, which are themselves but dialects and provincial, we are in danger of forgetting the language which all things and events speak without metaphor, which alone is copious and standard. Much is published, but little is printed. The rays which stream through the shutter will no longer be remembered when the shutter is wholly removed. No method nor discipline can supersede the necessity of being forever on the alert. What is a course of history or philosophy or poetry, no matter how well selected, or the best society or the most admirable routine of life, compared with the discipline of looking always at what is to be seen? Will you be a reader, a student, or a seer? Read your fate, see what is before you, and walk on into futurity. Thank you.
Thank you, Tierney and Pocky, and thank you both for your very great contributions to Washington and Lee these last 4 years. I now have the honor to introduce today's baccalaureate speaker, Elizabeth Knapp. Elizabeth is Associate Provost and Professor of Geology at Washington and Lee. She's also Director of the Johnson Program in Leadership and Integrity. A native of Lexington, Elizabeth received her bachelor's degree from Washington and Lee in 1990 and left Lexington to go across the mountain to Charlottesville, long enough to earn her PhD in environmental science from the University of Virginia, where she specialized in geochemistry and hydrogeology. She returned to her alma mater in 1997 as assistant professor of geology, and her contributions to the community since then have been extensive. She teaches courses in geochemistry, hydrology, and biogeochemistry. For the first 3 weeks of this spring term, she accompanied a first-year seminar on a 3-week field trip to study the geology of the Hawaiian Islands, a sign that she chooses her topics carefully and wisely. In addition to her teaching and research, she served as Associate Dean of the College for 4 years and as Associate Provost for 2 years before becoming my senior assistant and beginning her work as Director of the Johnson Program in 2013. In this role, she has worked closely with the Johnson Scholars and has administered the Johnson Endowment and the Johnson Opportunity Grant Program. Earlier this year, she returned to the Provost Office as Associate Provost. She is chair of the working group examining the history of African Americans at Washington Lee and of the University Sustainability Committee. She is also co-chair of the University Committee on Inclusiveness and Campus Climate. Active in the Lexington community, she has been a member of the boards of the Rockbridge SPCA and the Rockbridge County Public Service Authority, and is a member of the vestry of the Robert E. Lee Episcopal Church. On a personal note of gratitude, let me just add that over the years, I've come to appreciate deeply Elizabeth's critical and wise judgment, her insight, and her deep devotion to her alma mater, a devotion that allows her to see the strengths of this university, but at the same time doesn't prevent her at all from seeing where we can always do better. She has been a valued advisor and friend. Join me in welcoming Elizabeth.